What's going on, man? A 35-year-old failed rapper. That's the title of the video. So, first off, what do I mean when I say that? Let's get into that, and then we'll get into the state of the craft and how it's changed as I've been a part of it and witnessed it, and also my own relationship with it and what's going on. But what I mean right away is, as a failed 35-year-old rapper, not that I don't still see success for myself, not that I won't ever make a living solely off music, but as of right now, I have not lived up to expectations, largely expectations of others. When I say expectations of others, that does not mean that I don't have expectations for myself. I always want to be the best I possibly can, and I would love to make money off of my craft at this point. But in a way, I feel trapped because I spent my whole life doing something that has the entire landscape of it has changed, and I don't know what else to do. We'll get into that a little more later, but what I mean by other people's expectations is all the wonderful things that people have told me over the years, from the SoundCloud era when kids would hit me up and be like, they would tell me that my music saved their life and it helped them through rough times. And people I don't know, people from other states telling me I'm their favorite rapper of all time. They think I'm the best rapper of all time. Just all these, mind-boggling things. I'm forever thankful for that as well. But as time has gone on and more people told me these incredible things, and I decided, okay, well, I guess this is what I'm doing. This is what I have to do. And we'll get into why I have to do it later. Some of the mental health and trauma experiences that I've had, substance abuse, etc. Um, but as I've watched the craft evolve, the state of hip hop and the reactions of people around me and just behavior of human beings in general, I've been left. I'm not mad. This isn't a place of anger. It's not. I'm not sad. It's really more confusion. I'm confused about a lot of shit. And when I say I'm confused, it starts with some of the people that have told me some of these wonderful things over the years. I saved their life with my music. I'm their favorite. This, and that. And what I don't understand primarily is how you can look up to me in such a way and I saved your life, but I'm not allowed to have my own struggles and my own problems. And when I have them, oftentimes I'm left abandoned and alone. When I started rapping, it wasn't a popular thing. I know some of you who may be listening aren't old enough to understand that, but it was more of a niche type of thing. Like, yeah, rap in of itself was popular, but people on a local level rapping was not a widespread thing. You'd go to school, you'd meet a handful of other rappers and whatnot, but it wasn't this thing that it's become now where everyone just thinks they can do it, right? And because of how it's changed, that's what it's become. And I understand that. We'll get into that shortly too. But when I started rapping, it was an outlet because I was so hurt and angry and later on traumatized by some of the decisions I made, some of the people I chose to be around. I realize now some of the street shit I was around, I was never really meant to be around that because that wasn't my lot in life, you know. And I'm fucked up forever by it, you know what I mean? I know there's a lot of people that go through life not caring about anything. They have no remorse, no inner thought, no self reflection, no anything. Um, but I'm really traumatized about some of the shit that I was around and some of the things that I did that I participated in as well. And don't get it misconstrued, hey, I'm always gonna rap a certain way when I do rap. There's a street element to the way I like to talk, um, the way I like to dress, the way I like to make music. It's the music I grew up on, it's the music I love. But I was fucked up and haunted by a lot of things, and so I leaned deeper into the craft And it was an outlet for me, and I wanted to see how good I could get. And then other people started to compliment me on my skill set. At this point in my life, I don't know if there's been thousands, but I would say for sure, unequivocally, there's been hundreds, high hundreds of people that have initially been intrigued by my skill set and my craft and my overall the good parts of me that they like, the intellectual philosophical gems whatsoever. But then when the rest of it comes out, the trauma comes out when I drink too much or I'm triggered by something. My bipolar shit gets triggered by me drinking and being around negative situations, and I lash out. A lot of people end up distancing themselves. I'm not here to really fully explain my trauma either, you know. If you know, you know, but briefly, you know, sister died at 36, stripper, drug addict, prostitute, dad, an alcoholic. I watched my stepdad, a robust man, athlete, last years of his life, last few weeks, I mean, of his life in a diaper, staring at the ceiling, talking to his dead relatives, you know. Friends dying, friends going to prison, and for not like, oh, slap on the wrist, like, no, like 13, 14, 15 years, don't get to see their kids grow up. And so none of that, hey man, people have had it worse than me. I'm doing all right. I know how to make a living. I know how to hold down a place by myself. I still have my family. But here's where we're going to compound on this so I can try to give the full picture of why things are the way they are, why I feel the way I feel sometimes. And again, this is just if you care. You know, if you don't, zoom right past it. You know, I don't expect everyone to understand or give a fuck. So when I first started getting into rapping, it was about how good you are, you know, and you could be the underdog, you know, and get really good at it and talk about your story or whatever, and reach unimaginable heights. Eminem is the greatest example of that. If you know his catalog and his story, so that's what I built myself on. It was about iron sharpens iron. We battled, you know, and I understand. Look, you know, we're not things change, right? Like I'm not from the era of hip hop where they did, you know, back when it started, there was graffiti and DJing and battling and breakdancing and all that. Like we don't share. We didn't give a fuck about graffiti and and dance battling and shit, you know. But we can never take away from those pioneers, you know. But the era that I was introduced to, the era that I was inspired by, how good you are. Hey, let's put it on the line. Let's battle. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's see how good we can be. And I did it to escape the negativity that I was around and some of the hardships that I faced and people that treated me unfairly without even knowing me, judging me without knowing me. You know, another thing about me that's been a struggle in my life is being someone of mixed race and not really having any sort of home, not being fully accepted by a black side or a white side, having negativity from both. But that's a sidebar, you know. But my music became something that was cathartic for me, and it it shed light on some of the struggles that other people have, and they felt a connection to it. But as time has gone on, I've seen that not only do the new people doing it not give a fuck about the graffiti and all that, they don't care if they're good or not at the shit. It became how cool you are. So this thing that I spent my life getting good at and trying to perfect, I don't think there's ever a perfection of anything because art is subjective. But I've tried to get as good at it as I possibly can. Right? This thing that I poured my life into got overtaken by the same people that I was trying to escape in the first place. And they said, hey, bro, none of that shit matters no more. Look at this. Look how cool motherfuckers are. You know, look how cool niggas is. That's what it became. And I've also lived my life on trying to be genuine, and outside of my rap, outside of my past, I've never done anything that I can't forgive myself for, right? And I've tried to become a better person, and I always was a decent young man, and I got led astray for a while, but I've tried to correct my course and be a better person, right? And I try to be honest and genuine. But when I look around and I go, well, goddamn, like that doesn't seem to be like truth. Truth is something that will not set you free. Truth is something that people don't like to hear. People like bubbles. People like um, delusions of grandeur. People enjoy little snow globes of people that all affirm each other's bullshit and misconceptions of who they are. And so you get into social media and how that changed the landscape of everything, right? Social media has been one of the worst things that ever happened to me as far as a person and promotion, because I can put the music out, I have fun, good, kind hearted things to say, but I have a lot of thoughts that aren't the norm, and I understand that. I have a lot of sentiments that are not shared by the mass populace, right? And when I get intoxicated and the trauma and everything else comes out, it ends up people don't care about how good they think I am or anything. That outweighs it, and I get punished for telling my truth. People like pain in songs and art, but they don't like real pain, right? And I talk about a bevy of topics, I cover my pain. I notice even in the songs where I talk about my pain, it don't seem to hit as much as when I'll shoot a guy in the face, put two in the guy waist and race the motherfucker. I freestyle that, but you know what I mean? Like it don't hit as hard as when I rap, and do punchlines and negativity and I fuck bitches, I get money, I blah blah blah, all that type of shit, right? So, I do what I do. I'm gonna give you a grander scale into my life now of why things are the way they are. If you stayed around this long, God bless you. You really give a fuck or genuinely are interested in what's going on with me. So, but I look at the rest of my life. Um, my parents are in their 70s. I'm trying to help my mom raise my dad's sister's youngest daughter. There's problems with her. She has kid bipolar. Is on medication for that. My mom has her own traumas that we're not going to get into, but I try to work through that. And I have my own issues that I have to navigate, and so people say, "Oh, just go anywhere, go, move somewhere, go do," and it's everything isn't white and black like that in life. There's a lot of gray area, you know. I also spent a lot of years of my life really fucked up and not even trying. I had gave up on myself at a point. When COVID came around, they were like, "Oh, you got to sit in the house." I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, "What? Shit, I've been sitting in the house for a year." You know, I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I didn't have a job. I had quit talking to almost everyone I had ever known. I sat with my stepdad. He was a 70-year-old man. And we just talked about how life had fucked us over. That's how I felt at the time. And I snapped out of it. I'm doing my thing now. I'm doing all right. I got my own place. I get money. That's fine. But I look at the future. I look at the landscape. Like my interactions with women have been so fucked up as far as like long term one on one. Like let's lock something down. I don't know if I'll ever do that again. I have no desire to do that again. I'm a human being, so yeah, I'm still aroused by some pretty feet and a nice ass. some big titties and some dick sucking lips. But as far as locking it down, I'm not. You know, I don't have any kids. I try to help with my sister's dead kids. Uh, my sister's dead kids, my dead sister's kids. But um, I don't. I see the writing on the wall. I don't have family like that. I don't know my family. Half my family's from Puerto Rico. The other half is in New York and Seattle. They're all scattered about. I never met them, right? And so I have a couple real friends. They all have family, or if they don't live here. You know, and then we struggle with what's going on with my youngest niece that I try to help raise with my mother. She has her problems, and so I like I don't know what to do. I foresee a time where maybe when I say fuck it and all I have to live for is myself, that I can go and chase the ambition like that. Even if the opportunity presented itself now, like, yeah, I'll go, but I would always be thinking about others. And maybe that's the mistake I've made. I've thought about others too much in my life, and I need to be more selfish because the people that rule the world seem to be very selfish. So I don't know. There's just been a lot going on. Even if I do reach the heights that I once and somewhat still do desire, it'll never be the same after everything that's happened. And I would do it more of just a badge to hold up to people like, look, I did it. But it's hard for me to be happy for myself anymore. It's hard for me to. The best art I make is when I'm angry and trying to prove something, you know. Um, so I don't know. I'm lost. I'm very lost, and that's the tale of a 35-year-old failed rapper, bro. Um, but who knows? Maybe I'll be a 36-year-old successful rapper, a 40-year-old successful rapper. I don't know. Some of these numbers we talk about with age too. I'm so flabbergasted by, like, where did the time go? Um, Time flies when you're not having fun, though. I guess so. But yeah, if you see negativity from me and all that, like, it's just because I don't understand people. I don't understand the fickle nature of them. I don't understand why society went the way it went. Why the some of the biggest, most popular people to the youth are people that aren't even entertainers. They're just people that comment on entertainment. You know. Um, so these are all markers in time when I feel lost and I don't know what to talk about in art, like my own craft, and I do these. So maybe I'll laugh at it at some point. But either way, man, if you tune in for the whole thing, thank you. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. God bless you. See you next.